Music is not something that is in any way kind of concrete. It's not like a record isn't music. It's, you know, it's a record is just that, like a record of something that happened. I think playing live is probably that's kind of real music. You know, I think because you can get away with so much in the studio, but playing live is where it really matters. When I first started being into music properly, it was rock and roll music. I mean, 50s rock and roll. I mean, I kind of got into rock music in chronological order, because I started off when I was 11 years old listening to Chuck Berry and Buddy Holly and people like that. And then I sort of went through that, got into Hendrix and Cream, Led Zeppelin. And then when I got to the 80s, I went backwards and I started listening to loads of stuff that was recorded on 78, like Blind Willie Johnson and Blind Willie McTell. I grew up with quite a lot of Irish music. Reels and jigs and hornpipes and things like that, and when I started getting into American music, I realised just quite how much of an influence Irish music had been. Anyone in Britain who plays music grows up with American music, and there is a sense that that's where a lot of what's been done comes from originally. As a society, we've always looked outside for influences in art and music. I mean, even going back 200 years, you know, you couldn't. The only music you could see in London 200 years ago was Italian opera. The English, I think, are in some ways quite prosaic. America is sort of a place where people can indulge their fantasies. You know, it's like you can project anything onto this idea of America.
Ain't nobody gonna take my Crow Jane's place. You can't take a place. You can't take a place.
I arrange traditional tunes from Britain and America, and I try and take them and try and see them as part of like a shared kind of musical background, because I think, you know, if you listen to like a fiddle tune from Appalachia and then you listen to one from Scotland or, you know, the west coast of Ireland, there's so many similarities, and I try and be aware of that and try and bring them all together in the way they're performed, because obviously the guitar is not a traditional instrument in Britain. Really, for us, for English people, it's an American instrument.
Until the day she died.
I didn't really understand the guitar, and I think I'm getting closer to understanding it now, although I'll never fully understand it.